now tuned in to The Money Zone.
Hey guys, it's your girl Folasade, the Accountability Accounting. Guys, I want to say thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Money Zone, guys. What is today? Guys, look, October is here, so all of the holidays is right around the corner, and I know the last thing you thinking about, well, you should be thinking about your finances right now. Let's really be honest, because this is when you guys spend the most money, but I doubt that many of you are really focused on the money at this time. And that's okay, because we have a special guest that is creating lanes, for individuals in the finance and tech industry. And so we're going to kind of expose you guys to what their nonprofit is doing in the community and how their nonprofit can definitely help you guys. So we have an amazing guest, Michelle Williams of FinTech in Action, guys, coming on to kind of tell us how her firm has been successfully able to help the community give back and really spread the word of this finance and tech thing so we can take advantage of it and join. So guys, what we're going to do after the break, okay, we're going to have Michelle come on. But before that, what I would like you guys to do, share the video, guys. Grab your pen and your paper, because regardless of the guest or the topic, we tend to be dropping some gems regardless. And you want to make sure you don't miss out. And head over and join our mailing list as well by going to bit.ly/TMZ get notified. I need to get it right, because every time I'm always switching. That's bad. I've been saying the same thing for over 2 years. Get notified, TMZ. So join our mailing list, guys, so you can find out about the latest guests that we're having on, what topics that we're going to discuss, and just give you guys the opportunity to send me your questions and things like that. And I may even answer them through the show. So share the video, grab your pen and your paper, and we'll be right back. guys, welcome to the Money Zone. I'm your host, Folasade, the Accountability Accounting Guys, and I'm so excited and blessed to be here with you guys on this Tuesday. So before we went to break, I told you we had an amazing guest, Michelle Williams of FinTech in Action, coming on to kind of tell me and you guys about her organization that is really out there to help bridge the gap between Blacks and wealth, Black equity and wealth, and basically trying to give us some type of footing out there to be able to successfully build generational wealth. Okay, so Michelle Williams serves as the executive director of FinTech in Action, an initiative to encourage the hiring, promotion, and retention of Black employees in the fintech industry. Michelle helps to build new partnerships and increase awareness as FinTech in Action expands its outreach in the coming years. From an economic equity perspective, there is catching up to do, Williams said. I'm always looking for productive and strategic ways to bridge that wealth gap. There are stark disparities that exist in the finance and technology industries that need to change. And I definitely agree with that. And FinTech in Action is here to inspire that transformation. Guys, that's where the STEM programs come into place. This is why we're so adamant about having your kids go into mathematics, engineering, and everything for these reasons. FinTech in Action is a coalition of action oriented corporations and individuals committed to accelerating progress, innovation, and opportunity for Black talent in financial firms across the country. FinTech in Action was launched in 2020 to create and support programs that advance growth for Black finance and technology students and professionals. At 26 members and counting, the coalition works to fight systemic racism and initiate tangible progress across the industry. FinTech in Action partners with universities, community, stakeholders, and professional advocacy groups such as the Greenwood Project in order to inspire change. Since its inception, FinTech in Action has helped Greenwood Project boost its internship program capacity by 25%, with plans to see a 100% increase in 2021. So, guys, help me welcome Michelle Williams of FinTech in Action to the Money Zone.
Hello, hello. Thank you for that amazing welcome. I appreciate it, and I'm excited to be here.
Yes, thank you for joining us, Michelle. We really appreciate it. So, you know what? A person cannot really explain what a person really does. So, if you can kind of take a minute to tell us what your organization do and kind of clear up any kind of confusion or anything that I actually left off, or just a more simpler version of what you guys do.
Yes, certainly. So, FinTech in Action is a social impact initiative that was started by two fintech firms, Peak Six and Apex Clearing Custody, which we can talk a little bit about what they do later if you're interested. Last summer, in response to the riots and the outcry that was happening across the nation, a lot of organizations and companies were evaluating the ways in which they stood for, did not stand for racial equity.
Mm-hmm.
And the CEOs of these two firms essentially said, we don't want to just be a firm that, puts the black square on our social media and moves on. We want to actually assess the ways in which we impact the industry and, where racial equity lies within the work that we do. And FinTech, similar to tech, similar to finance, has a large lack of Black talent within the industry. And so that's where FinTech in Action was birthed. They essentially reached out to their network. When they started the coalition, there was 18 firms who essentially said, yes, this is a problem that we need to fix. We need to be intentional about fixing it. And that was August of last year.
Okay.
I came on staff in November in order to grow what had already been started, as well as to put some legs behind it to really make it actionable. So if we're talking about creating equity and opportunity for Black people across the board, whether we're talking about retention and recruitment within the industry or simply just exposure, like educating people on what fintech even is and why it's important. Then we needed to do some be intentional about partnerships, be intentional about investment, and be intentional about the conversations that we're having and the content that we're creating. And so it is over a year since Fintech in Action was birthed. We've seen some great successes. We've raised almost $2 million for the initiative, invested $1 million in Greenwood Project, which you spoke about earlier, which is a Black-led nonprofit that is specifically focused on creating internship opportunities within the finance industry for underrepresented students. We've served over 250 students. We've created content, and we're excited about what we have in store for the rest of 2021 going into 2022.
Oh, that's perfect. So, Michelle, from your perspective, being behind the scenes and really seeing how it's important for us to get into the fintech industry, where do you think the disconnect is? Is it the fact that we're not going into it in terms of in collegiate wise and academia, or
Yeah.
not intrigued or piqued in high school? Where do you think the problem is? And so we can kind of figure it out, because we need to have more engineers and more mathematicians and more people that can understand the wave of this technology. So
Yeah.
what do you think the lag is?
So I actually think that there's three issues. I think on the basic issue, there is, to your point, there is, or historically has been, just industry or just a lack of essentially us going into some of the STEM fields, which is why we're seeing this heavy push. But let's not get it twisted. Every single job within fintech does not require an engineering or a finance degree. When you think about running a business, any kind of business, you need marketing people, you need HR people, you need sales people, you need accountants, you need every single type of professional to run a business, right? Every single fintech firm is essentially a business. And so only a portion of the jobs are specialized. Only a portion of them require, a certain type of technological degree or, mathematic degree. The rest of them are what we would call regular jobs, which leads to the second issue that we have, and that is a lack of intentional, equitable recruitment.
Okay.
So if a requirement to go into a fintech job is that you had to have previous fintech experience, regardless of whether you have the education, regardless of whether you have the acumen. Let's take HR, for example. Why does an HR professional have to have previous experience in fintech in order to be an HR professional? You're dealing with people, you're dealing with hiring processes, you're dealing with the
procedures. Yep.
exactly the skill sets and the acumen that person has. Is less about fintech and it's more about their actual skill sets. And so I think the way that we recruit into these industries are perpetuating the issue, because if you know that the industry is not diverse, but then you're recruiting only from that non-diverse pool to create positions that aren't technical positions, you're going to perpetuate the issue. And then I think that the third thing is many people have this thought of anything technology or even finance related as being so high up there. Like it's almost intangible, like unreachable. We can't reach it, but if only we knew, like it's not as we're basically eliminating ourselves from some of these opportunities because we're not even applying to try to get in the door because of our own perception. And so when you stack these things on top of one another, you have the issue of lack of diversity within the industry. So it's not all on us, is what I'm trying to say. It's not, there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on that's preventing that.
Yeah. So let me ask you. So right off the bat, what have stuck to me is, what type of companies would we consider, just if we don't have an idea, consider fintech companies?
That's a great question. Cash App,
Okay.
Venmo,
Okay.
Zelle, I would say Bank of America, any of your standardized banks,
Yeah.
if they have an app and they do transactions online, which all of them do, they have a large fintech component of what they're doing. Um, your trading apps, so Robinhood, Webull, SoFi, all of those different applications would be considered fintech. Basically, anything that has to do with the transaction of money in one way or another, um, that's done on a technological platform, so that's done online or on your phone, is considered fintech. It's literally just the intersection of finance and technology.
And look, guys, y'all know about that Cash App. You know about
Right?
Venmo and Zelle and everything. You know what? I've never heard anyone say I'm going to apply to Cash App or apply. Never even me even thinking about it, never even
Yeah,
considered it.
we
Like
don't we,
honestly.
we don't even think about the fact that there's a whole company behind Cash App.
Yeah.
There's marketers, there's HR people, there's people buying coffee, there's, people organizing, there's people cleaning the office, there's people that are doing the technology, they're doing everything. So yeah, there's whole companies behind these fintech apps that we, use willy-nilly.
Oh wow. So where do you think like for example, even with me being as knowledgeable as I perceive myself to be, even with my little stutter here and there, guys. But I didn't even think to even apply, like, or to even consider, oh well, they may have some positions available, or no, not once. I have not even considered it. Just imagine the average Black person never, not even once thought, okay, there's opportunity that lies within those behind that green Cash App wall. That
Mhm.
may be employment, and you might bring a lot of value to it. So this spins exactly right into my question. So does your initiative, does FinTech in Action help them create a program for them to employ more African, more Blacks? Or do you guys come and like become consultants, uh, interview, hire on their behalf? How do you guys come into place to bridge that gap, basically?
Yeah. So I mean, to your point earlier about, not even thinking about applying to a company, like Cash App, an application that you probably use very regularly. I know I do. I use Cash App, excuse me, probably on a weekly basis. I have a kid, so he's always asking me for $10 here, $5 there. So a lot of it is exposure. A lot of what we do, when the initiative first started, the focus was internships, right? So the theory is that if we can find some brilliant sophomores and juniors and undergrad and expose them to these companies, then we'll be able to get them before they graduate, before they've kind of decided where they're going to go, and we can at least give them another arrow for them to shoot when they're thinking about where they're going on their career journey. And it's great. We've been able to partner with some of our agency partners, as well as some universities, as well as nonprofit organizations, to create connections or places of connectivity for firms to connect with brilliant Black students, right? But to your point, what we realized very, very quickly is that there's an exposure issue. So if you are, a smart kid who has been thinking about going into finance, more than likely in your mind, you're going to be looking at for internships like Goldman Sachs and, maybe a local bank or, private equity, which are all great, great, great industries to go into. But you probably have never thought about fintech, even though fintech is one of the fastest growing multi-billion-dollar industries out there. The jobs are lucrative. Look, last year, do you think the average pay for an intern was like $23 an hour?
Wow.
$20 an hour. On top of that, they got a sign-on bonus. On top of that, they got money for laptops. And
Wow.
so it's a lucrative industry. right? We're paying our interns that. Imagine what the entry level positions
Yeah.
are paying. And literally they just don't know. So we realized that we had to go a step outside of just the connection, and we had to do like a whole exposure conversation. And so we partnered with the National Urban League to do a trading 101 boot camp with high school students. It was a pilot. We kind of threw it out there to our network. We only marketed it for maybe 10 days, I think. We got over 200 students who applied in 10 days, which showed us like, oh, that there's a market for this. Like we need to really, really pay attention in this. But on top of that, as we're going through these classes with these high schoolers, their parents are in the background taking notes. Their older brothers are in the backgrounds, uncles and aunties are in the backgrounds taking notes. And so we were like, oh, okay, so we need to do this for adults. And so a lot of what we're doing at FinTech in Action, one, it's just kind of common sense.
Mm-hmm.
If people don't know about it, we got to tell people about it. So how do we tell people about it? But a lot of it is also we're actually watching how people respond, and we're being intentional about reacting to it, as opposed to saying, oh, we have all the answers. This is exactly how we're going to do it. No, if we're seeing that, mom and dad and auntie and uncle are interested, then that means that there is an opportunity for us to create, exposure and educational pieces for them as well. So, we're still growing. We're a year in, and we're still learning and evolving. But we're really excited about the direction that we're going.
This is actually pretty exciting because those are the future jobs. Like everything is going to be eventually, if possible, converted over into some form of tech. Some form of monetary value will be added to literally everything, which there is. Almost every product can be sold now, and anyone can have a business on their phone, basically. So, guys, this is something to really consider, especially with the younger children that's coming up, to really expose them to. So, do you guys have like summer camps and like what other opportunities outside of what you guys did for that one time with the Urban League, do you have, or would you have planned going forward?
Yes.
Your next initiative.
I'm actually in New York now. I met with the Urban League earlier today, so we're gonna have this as an ongoing partnership. And then of course we have our internships as ongoing partnerships. But there are a couple of things that I'm piloting, and I just want to take a step back and and add texture to one thing you said. You said these are the future jobs, baby. These are the jobs today.
Yeah.
When I tell you every single firm, if you're listening, please hear me. Every single firm that I am working with cannot find enough people to fill these jobs. They cannot find enough people. And it's not because the jobs are so, you need all of these different certifications. Some of them you do. Some of them you do need like your Series 6 and, your SEI. Some of them you do need financial certifications. Some of them are business to business sales jobs. Some of them are marketing jobs. Some of them are, and it's just because people aren't applying. So fintechinaction.com, we have all of our firms there. Please go to their websites and look at their careers page, because there is a myriad of jobs that are, very well paid. So please check that out. However, back to your question. So we're doing a pilot with Howard University, and I hope I can say this because we haven't finalized it yet. But
let's not put it out there. I thought it was already on the books, maybe planned.
Yeah.
Nope, don't put it out there yet.
Well, but I can't say this. I can't say this part. We're doing
something else.
Yeah. No. I mean, I can share that we are working on pilots on university campuses to do hackathons with the students, so that they don't have to wait for an internship. They can actually get their hands dirty. And our hope is once we finish the hackathon, we'll be able to take the winners of that hackathon and fly them to Wall Street, or fly them to New York, so that they can actually see Wall Street, see all of the different firms, have a tour, and see themselves in these opportunities, so that when their junior year and senior year come along and they're looking for internships, they have this as an opportunity. If they decide they don't want to go into fintech, cool, but you can't say that they didn't know.
Yeah. I didn't know.
Yeah.
Truly, and I don't think I'm the only one.
Oh yeah.
And you know what? That's exactly probably Well, that's exactly why a lot of our jobs are going offshore as well too,
Mhm.
because we cannot fill them here.
It's true. It's
So, guys,
true.
this will allow us to prevent another industry from going offshore, which they easily could, especially with this tech stuff.
Mhm. They
So,
can.
and a lot of them are already with like their customer service division and things like that. But guys, we have to start, and it's up to us parents now to start exposing our children to something outside of just the attorney or the accountant or the doctor and everything else. And it's scary for me, honestly, Michelle, is that
Mhm.
I watch things from a global standpoint, from a larger scale. And I was in the hospital with my sister, and I was just looking how it's a shortage of doctors. It's a
Yeah.
shortage of Black doctors.
Mhm.
It's a shortage. So it's like we have a shortage of almost everything in every industry, and I think it's starting to wear down on my little bones that time is to me personally running out. We have to start
Mhm.
to fill these gaps, or the
Yeah.
gap is going to get so broad that it's going to be unfillable.
Mhm.
And I think that's where I am. I'm seeing it from every angle. You're now exposing me to fintech. Never even once thought about your industry. I'm looking in the areas that I constantly see on a daily basis. Never once thought in
Mhm.
fintech we're losing maybe a good maybe 30, 40 million in annual income in our community because we're not going after something that's outside of the norm. And guys, look, you might be able to work from home too.
Yeah.
And
Most of our most of our positions are, well, they are remote right now, of course, because of COVID. However, yeah, if it's a tech-based job, um, asking to work remotely is not outside of the norm,
yeah,
right? I have colleagues that are all over the nation and some in different countries that we work with, and because fintech is a newer industry, a lot of workers just want to know, can you do the work?
yeah.
Are you smart enough to do the work? I don't care if I see your butt in the seat from 8 to 5. If you're at home and that's how you get it done, we don't care. Just get it done.
Look, guys, and so I advise you guys to head and really go to FinTech in Action. Let me share my screen really quick, guys. Go to FinTech in Action. If you know what age group, Michelle, do you guys primarily work with, though?
So for our programming, we're mainly focusing on college students because we're college and high school students because we're working on that exposure piece.
Yes.
However, one of the things that I am personally passionate about is, again, I talk to fintech CEOs all day, every day. I know that they are trying to find qualified workers that are grown, right? People with industry experience. So although we don't have programming for adults yet, we do, I do acknowledge that there is a need, there is an opportunity, and there are jobs right now that firms are trying to fill. I literally get emails all the time, Michelle, I'm looking for somebody who can do, operations, or I'm looking for a VP of learning and innovation, or I'm looking for somebody that can help me with marketing, or, and again, these aren't finance or technology laden jobs. They want people that are skilled within
Yep.
their specific expertise to come in. They can teach you the fintech side. I didn't know the fintech side when I came into this industry. My background, I had previously ran some of the Dallas Entrepreneur Centers. So my background is in entrepreneurship and innovation. But what they needed experience. They needed somebody with experience in running social impact initiatives. They didn't care whether or not I knew all of the nuances of fintech because they knew I could learn it.
Yeah.
Um, but it's easier to teach someone around fintech than it is the specific skill sets that you come in the door with. So
That's it.
I said it to say, like, don't be discouraged or intimidated by the fact that you may not know a whole lot of ins and outs around fintech if that's not your wheelhouse, but you're great in marketing, or you're great in accounting, or you're great in, HR. Apply for the job, show how you're brilliant, and everything else will fall into place.
And I was about to ask you a silly question, like how would they even get started? But honestly, you told us some of the companies. Just go to their website, guys,
We
and
have a
go
list.
peers, or FinTech in Action have a list as well.
Yeah, if you go to our website and if you were to keep scrolling down, you would see a list of all of the there's actually firms that I still need to add to our website. We've grown since I created that website, which was almost a year ago. I need to update that. But yeah, there's firms that we've since added to our coalition list. Yeah, so all of these firms, if you click on them, you'll be led to their websites, and you can literally go and look at their career page and see what they have, what jobs they have.
Oh, wow. 139 jobs at this one company.
Sis, that's one company.
One.
Yeah.
One, guys. Let's see, I can do it by state. Okay, yep, location. Okay. So if you're in New York, how many in New York? 25 jobs in New York. So yeah, guys. And they're all recently posted as well.
Yeah, because fintech is growing exponentially. And so like these firms are growing faster than like the need is growing faster, especially as we see Gen Zers come into adulthood. Because our kids aren't going into no bank. They're not writing checks.
They don't even know how.
They will never use a bank ledger. They don't even use cash.
Yeah.
I was listening to this panel. It was a fintech panel of, Gen Zers that were like 20, like 19, 20, 21. And they were saying, one of them said, yeah, my dad gave me cash the other day and I stuck it in the bottom of my purse and I forgot it. But if he Zells me or sends me money on Cash App, I remember that I have it. But physical cash, like they don't even use cash.
Wow.
So think about what's going to happen. And, these young people are already adults. Think of what happens when they're 25, when they're 30, and they are not accustomed to using tangible forms of currency. All that's going to do is grow the fintech industry exponentially.
Wow. So it's so much opportunity. And then for my small business owners, guys, this may be an opportunity for you to partner, maybe collaborate, maybe become a contractor. Because let's really be honest, guys. If they cannot fill the shoes with employees, they're going to have to actually go to firms to provide that same service. So you guys want to be prepared if the opportunity presents itself to be able to maybe coordinate and maybe staff your firm to be able to provide the services for their organization, because we're suffering, Michelle, in terms of hiring across the board. So I don't know if your industry is going to shape up faster or not, what industry, but now here I go with my panic streak now, worried. But yeah, you guys need to go out and start thinking outside of the box. Like instead of you guys just easily thinking about, doing the physical work, maybe like the Uber, things like that. Why won't you take a minute? And so where would you go to learn like a certain skill set? Is it because most of the time, if you don't have like an office background or a computer technologically inclined position, then the transition to fintech may be challenging. You were coming off of you watching the Money Zone right now. You're like, okay, I don't care if I'm not a tween or whatever Michelle want. I'm going to figure it out. Where would they start? What type of like certification maybe that they can take, 6-week certification or something that can at least get their foot in the door? Like, do you have any idea if where they can start?
Definitely. So there's an exam called the SIE exam that stands for the Securities Industry Essentials exam. It's open to anyone, and it basically prepares you for a job in finance. So when I started working with this initiative, I'm speaking to a bunch of CEOs across the nation. One of the gentlemen told me, we need to do some type of program where we can get 18-year-olds to take their SIE exam. He's like, I know you don't know this, but a lot of wealthy white men make sure their sons take this exam the moment they leave high school. The reason why is because it's the It's the first step in the door to a finance job. And you can take it when you're 18. Now, some of the other certifications that you need to work in finance, like your Series 6, you do need a sponsorship by a company, meaning like you need to have a company that's interested in hiring you in order, because they basically like cover the cost and sponsor you to go get the education to take these other certifications. But when you have this SIE exam or this SIE certification, it's basically putting you a step ahead of another person who's just, coming up off of the street, who may not have the experience or the knowledge. And it also just gives you a general overview of the finance industry and some of the like qualifications around compliance and securities and all of those different things. So it's an exam you can take on your own. It's self-study. I don't remember the cost to take it. Well, let me not lie. Let me actually look it up and see what the what the cost to take it is. $60.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, $60. So, and we live in the age of information. So go to YouTube, watch some YouTube videos on, like we live in the age of information. All of the knowledge that you would need to study is out there. Go to Half Price Books, child, get you a book and study it, and then take the exam. And then when you're going on Indeed, or any of these like job or LinkedIn, looking at jobs, search jobs, that require SIE certification.
Yeah.
Literally just search them and you'll be able to see all of the jobs that are open up to you. And usually because these jobs are going to be finance-based jobs, they're going to be lucrative. Like they're going to be well-paid jobs. So that's the first place that I would say start. Even if you don't have, a degree or a background, start there.
Wow. And I can imagine that they're actually having their sons take that.
At 18.
Yeah, smart.
Didn't nobody tell us?
No, you told us, Michelle.
Yes.
The Money Zone, guys. So if your child want to get into the finance industry, or you want to just expose into something, get some certifications and things, I think you might want to go ahead and prepare them for this exam. I think it's worth it, especially with the day and age that we are in. So, okay, guys, so when we're getting deep into the conversation, I can lose track. So do me one favor, guys. I'm going to take a quick break. But before I take a quick break, please head over and follow Michelle on all things social media, FinTech in Action. Let me confirm that on Instagram. Where's my Instagram handles?
Yeah, our Instagram is FinTech in Action.
Okay, FinTech in Action. Okay, so follow her on all things social media and on Facebook as well.
Yes, we're not as active on Facebook, but definitely on LinkedIn. We post a lot of our content on LinkedIn because we want you to be connected directly to the firms. So check us out on LinkedIn, because a lot of our firms are part of our LinkedIn page. They'll be posting jobs and opportunities as the days come along. So Instagram and LinkedIn is where we're most active.
Okay, so head over on Instagram, guys. Follow Michelle and FinTech in Action on Instagram. And just if you know of any children, college age, head over to fintechinaction.com, and she has a contact, like a join form, where you guys can join her organization and get your teenagers, get your college age children out there and expose them to something that's outside of norm. Guys, can I be honest with you? We don't need any more psychologists. Well, no, we don't. We really don't need no more psychologists, because you guys are not really using your degrees. I'm sorry. I don't want to, fret on it. Like, let's think outside of the box right now. And I think this opportunity will be great. And we need to get our foot in the door. So check out the SIE exam. So you can get the certification to get your foot in the door. So guys, head over on Instagram, follow FinTech in Action, guys, and we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. So your refund can still be high. Or if it's not the case, your refund would definitely be lower. So that's really a few of the reasons why many of you are going to be shocked thrown back, taken aback, beat up, disturbed, might be crying in your feelings because your tax refunds are much lower than what you anticipated. Your business is right on that piece of paper that I can maximize, but guess what? Many of you guys took shortcuts in your business. You've been taking shortcuts for years. So you're out of luck right now. You're looking at that pile of paper and you like, yo, you serious, Folasade? Yes, I'm serious. And I'm very serious because right now your bookkeeping is what's going to either catapult your business or be a detriment to your business. And your lack of it is definitely a detriment, especially in the situation that we're in right now, where we all need to be maximizing our deductions and paying as little bit of taxes as we legally could so we can sustain in our businesses and be able to afford our lifestyles. But if you are not doing your bookkeeping, and if you're not keeping proper records, then I guarantee you are not paying the right amount of taxes that you're supposed to pay, or you're not getting the right amount of refund that you are supposed to be getting. So if you are a business owner, the way for you to protect your wealth, your income right now is by making sure you cross your T's and dot your I's and get your bookkeeping in order and stop playing games like you out here not trying to build a successful business. Only people that don't want to be successful don't have an accountant. Only people that don't want to be successful don't do their bookkeeping. And right now, your small business is maybe somebody else's blessing if you were to get your stuff in order. So you need your bookkeeping to make sure that every dollar you spend in your business is written off. Hey guys, welcome back to the Money Zone. I'm your host, Folasade, the Accountability Accountant, guys. And I have the Executive Director of FinTech in Action, Michelle Williams, talking about, well, guys, she done told us a lot of stuff. She done told us what the wealthy do with their teenage boys that we need to definitely do with our children, which is take the SIE exam. Look, I'm just learning too, y'all. I don't know everything. That's why we have guests like Michelle and all of our other guests to tell y'all the other secrets that I don't know that I'm learning too, okay? So this is today's secret. We learned about the SIE exam. We learned about FinTech in Action and the impact that they're trying to make to bridge the gap between FinTech and the Black community, guys. And Michelle basically said to get started, just go to their websites. Go to FinTech in Action, scroll down, and just click on the websites that she's affiliated with, the companies that she's affiliated with, and you go to the career page, guys. I went on, was it Peak? And it was 149 or 129 open positions and 25 just in New York alone. And guys, you can take your human resource experience from the government and apply there. You can take your human resource or finance degree or finance background from a private firm in Rockville and apply to work from home for the remaining until retirement. Guys, it's just so many opportunities out there. Don't get stuck where you are. Try and figure out if fintech is a good ship for you. They may need some seasoned individuals to come in to spruce things up and give them that solidarity that they need to really scale. So make sure you guys look for opportunities that's out there. So Michelle, before we go, we're winding down. Is there any last minute words or anything that I missed out on that you want to touch bases on? The floor is yours.
Yeah, I would just say, in the age of information, ignorance is a choice.
Yes.
And there's nothing wrong with not knowing, nothing at all. There is something wrong with not choosing to know. And I think that those are two completely different things. We don't know what we don't know, right? Like, I had never heard of the SIE exam either until this guy told me, and I'm over here Googling, like, what is this, right? But the thing is that I went and Googled it when I heard the information.
Yeah.
And so if I could leave with any bit of advice, don't hear what I'm saying and be like, ooh, that's over my head, or, ooh, child, that's a lot. Just go and Google it. There's a bunch of YouTube videos, literally just explaining fintech. Cryptocurrency is a part of fintech. So there's videos explaining cryptocurrency. There's videos explaining trading. There's videos explaining decentralized finances, which is really what's happening right now is finances. Yeah. What fintech is doing is basically disrupting the industry so that the banks are not the only holders of where money goes. And so there's a lot of videos on what does that mean for us? Where is that going for us? Just don't watch one of your favorite Netflix videos. You can watch the other one, but just turn one of them off. And for that hour, do a little bit of research, educate yourself, because this industry ain't going nowhere. If anything, it is growing, it is booming. But not only that, our wealth is tied to it. So jobs are important. Getting into the industry is important. That's my job. But also the way that I have looked at wealth building since I've gotten into this industry, just because I've been knowledge adjacent, right? I've been close enough to the knowledge where some of it is rubbed off on me and I really research the rest, has been astronomical. Just the different types of money moves that I made. If we have time, I'll tell one quick story, if you don't mind.
I think we got about 3 to 4 minutes. Yeah.
Okay, so really quickly, the CEO of Peak Six, the company that you looked at, is a woman. Her name is Jenny Just. She was just named, I think, number 19 of Forbes top self-made billionaires.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. She told a story about how when her and her friends, she's the only one in this friend group that works in finance. Her and her friends wanted to save up to go on a vacation. She told the friends, give me the money that you want to save for vacation. And instead of just putting in a savings account, I'm going to put it in a portfolio, in a, an income making portfolio. And then we'll take the money that we make from that portfolio and we'll go on vacation. And she said that they did this years ago. They only put money in this portfolio one time. And that portfolio, the dividends on that portfolio has paid for their vacation every single year since they put the money in it.
Wow.
Because instead of it being putting money in savings and then using it, it's putting money in investment and growing it, taking some of it out, still growing it, taking some of it out, still growing it, right? Very simple story, but to me, it was very profound and oh, I'm doing this whole money thing wrong, completely wrong. So yeah, that would be my parting words is if you don't know, there's nothing wrong with not knowing. There is something wrong with choosing not to know. So when the information comes to you, if you don't understand, Google it, look it up, go to YouTube, use your resources, figure it out.
Follow you on Instagram if you can't figure it out too.
Yes.
FinTech in Action, guys. Follow them on Instagram. Yes. Go to fintechinaction.com. Check them out. Michelle is doing a lot of work. She's rubbing the right shoulders. Well, yeah, shaking the right hands, rubbing the right shoulders, and really getting us in the door, guys. And honestly, truth be told, we have to show up actually. We cannot keep having our leaders out there and you guys are not supporting. So this is also a call for support. a call for you guys to really start to expose yourself to a different industry, because Michelle can't say, oh, I have all these Black people back here that will be willing to do all this. And then when they go to hire, it's no one applying. And they're looking at Michelle. Am I lying, Michelle? But
you're right. You're absolutely right.
it's only so much game. That's like with me delaying a lien on your account. I can only delay them for about a good year. After about that, Michelle, I got to show up with something so they can move forward. And after maybe 3 times, and they're gonna be like, well, Michelle, we're your people.
Yeah.
You know? I thought you guys need it. And guess what? We're going to lose another opportunity. So we need you guys to also show up so Michelle can show up and show out and get the money and get the contacts and the connections that she needs so she can bridge that gap. Guys, we are as big as you are and as little as you guys are. Wherever you guys support us is where we're going to be. So if you lack support, we're only going to get so far.
That's true. There's a narrative out there that there's not enough brilliant Black people to do this work. And I'm telling them that this is a lie.
It is a lie. We just don't have the supporters that we need to push us far enough to get the attention and attraction that's required. We have to actually pick the leaders from each and start pulling each other together and really collectively working as a whole. We have a lot of work to do. And guys, Michelle Williams is doing her part, being the executive director of FinTech in Action. Head over to Instagram, follow them. I think you can even donate. You have your 501c3 and all of that stuff. So donate to her organization because she's putting it back into the community as well. Michelle, thank you so much for gracing your presence here with us on the Money Zone. Look, girl, you lost me a little bit, but then you rolled me back on in. The FinTech guys, look, if it's not accounting, Michelle, I'm like a complete ditz. But it's okay because I'm smarter than that, right? And so you lost me. I don't know if you saw it in my eyes, and then I had to come back for a minute, and I was like, okay, I'm here. I got it. Okay.
It's a lot. It's a lot. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with not knowing.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with not knowing. But we just gotta keep leaning in and listening and digging forward, and we're gonna get there.
But when you said always think FinTech is what's allowing you to do cash out, money. I'm like, ding, 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 ding. You didn't lose me since. I was like, okay. So guys, think about this, the wave of money and the way that we operate, just like Michelle perfectly said, it's going to be 100% shifted over time. And we want to be ahead of the curve instead of the ones fighting for the last piece of the pie like we're always doing. This is our opportunity to get into investments. This is our opportunity to get in the door of FinTech companies because look, guys, you get stocks, and if the company go to trillions of dollars, a company, your stocks, your employee stock options goes up and you guys can retire like millionaires, which it used to be like that. In the day, I'm hoping I can have my staff retire as millionaires from my firm. So guys, think about it. You're getting in early. Opportunity lies. It's really up for you guys to take the information that we presented tonight and apply it. And as Michelle said, go and Google your life away and you'll figure it out, okay? So guys, follow Michelle at FinTech in Action on Instagram and head over and bother her as well on fintechinaction.com. And Michelle, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, guys. So tonight's show is over. Thank you, Michelle, for coming on to the Money Zone. If you're interested in finding out more, as I said, please head over and follow her. And that's a wrap, guys. See you next week.